Hello and welcome to the Nashville Daily podcast. I'm Stuart Deming.
And I'm Aaron Pennington.
On today's episode, we're talking about changes happening in 2023 for Nashville Daily podcast.
And we're going to be talking about what to look forward to and how you can get involved.
We'll talk about all of this and more on Nashville Daily.
We're going to do some Tennessee trivia here in a second. I'm trying to figure out, there are some tough questions in this.
There is.
There are some very interesting questions, some tough questions. We're going to get to that in just a second while I figure out which questions to ask. But if you are in these next few winter months, as the temperature is dropping and maybe you realize you want to be in an area where maybe you can just stay home during these times, and it's really either closer to get to your work during these slippery times, or whether you want to stay home and build a nice fire. You don't have that capability yet, but you want to be able to. So you're looking for a home during these winter times. You should text Brad Reynolds, real estate agent here in Nashville and sponsors of the show. You can find him at thinkbrad.com. Brad is covering the closing costs of some of the closing costs of one lucky viewer and subscriber. Here's how to enter. You go to Nashville Daily Podcast on YouTube. Subscribe there. You go to Brad Reynolds.
Think Brad.
I wasn't thinking Brad. So at Think Brad on his YouTube channel. Subscribe there. And then text Brad, 615-856-3270. Let him know that you subscribe to both channels. And then you are entered in to have some of your closing costs covered for this new home purchase in the winter months coming up. So make sure you do that. And if you're thinking Nashville, think Brad. All right, let's get to this Tennessee trivia. There are some very interesting ones. I might throw some out of left field.
Oh, no.
Just because we haven't talked about that. But I'm...
Is that the sports category?
No, this is science and nature. I'm going to start here. This one, you have a good chance on. During August, what type of bird roosts by the thousands?
The purple martin.
And yeah, I didn't even finish the question. Purple martin.
I knew that one because of the Nashville Symphony spent hundreds of thousands of dollars to clean up their bird crap, poop stuff. All right, let's keep going.
All right, this one I know you know. What is the state gem of Tennessee?
It is the Tennessee Pearl.
Yes, it is the Tennessee pearls.
Fresh river pearl.
Yes, the natural pearls from the rivers of the state.
Yes.
This one may be a little tougher.
Oh, no.
What is the name of the geophysical features of East Tennessee by one of the largest anticline formations in the world? It's a very oddly worded question. It's the geophysical feature of East Tennessee created by one of the largest anticline, I think I'm saying that right? It says anticline formations in the world.
So is it the mountain range?
It is not. So if you think, my thinking is here, if you think of the opposite of an incline, an anticline.
It's a decline?
Yeah, so what might you find in a decline in the mountains?
Valleys?
Okay, yes. So
Okay.
It is a specific name for a valley in that area in East Tennessee.
I literally have looked this up. Like, I've looked up, not this exact question, but like I've looked up the geographic names. I'm just going to go with Valley 2.0.
So the name of it on here, I'm going to botch it. People are going to comment about it. Sequatchie Valley.
That's what it is.
Sequatchie Valley.
We talked about that on the Regions of Tennessee episode that we did a couple months ago. All right, let's give me one more.
Okay, the sections remaining: art and literature, history, entertainment, geography.
Geography.
All
since
right.
we were on the topic of it.
All right.
The Sasquatch. That's not how you say it.
Okay, this one's going to be very interesting.
All right.
On June 22nd, 1910,
Okay.
the world's first night airplane flight took off from what location? This is an interesting one. I don't think I've encountered this before.
The location of a physical area in Tennessee.
Yes, Nashville specifically. I'll give you that.
Okay.
This one's an interesting one.
So something took off at night.
The world's first night airplane flight took off from what location? It is in Nashville.
Cornelia Fort Air Park.
So this, and we might have to do a little bit of research on this.
Because at one point there was 9 airports or so throughout Nashville.
So the answer that this gives is Cumberland Park.
Okay, so probably not the Cumberland Park in downtown.
That's the interesting part is that it might not be the Cumberland Park downtown. So I don't know exactly. And again, this book was released in the 90s. So it could be very interestingly something different than what we would know. So,
well, I don't know the answer. This is the last episode of 2022, and we're going to be talking about some changes that are going to be happening with the podcast here in 2023. But first, we have to talk about our other sponsor, Bowtie Barber Club. If you want a haircut, beard trim, nose wax, ears wax, hot towel, coffee, alcohol, before you drink, or
good old beard
before
trim.
you get your beard trim, visit bowtiebarberclub.com, and that is located in the heart of Donaldson. So now let's get into the changes for this podcast in 2023, and they are a lot of changes that are going to happen. First, I just want to show this real quick.
Yeah. Let's get into it. And even before we talk about specific changes, I want to go over a little bit of the history of the podcast as well.
Yeah. So should we start from the beginning for the history of the podcast?
Well, depends on what you're going to show.
Okay. Well, I was showing this. This is our website, NashvilleDailyPodcast.com. A change that's going to happen in the new year is we're reamping our website. So it's going to be a whole different web experience, a lot more focus on the daily videos and with some of the audio experiences. So you can see our latest episodes. But in 2023, that's going to be a change that happens, is a change to our website.
Yeah. So you may be seeing a construction down. Or construction on a website or something like that.
Yeah, like this page is under construction for a couple days. So if you're planning on visiting the website,
make sure you're subscribed in the other areas.
Yeah.
As well, YouTube at Nashville Daily Podcast.
Yeah, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music.
Wherever you're listening.
And then there's also our YouTube channel, Nashville Daily Podcast. This is where all of the updated shows will be. So if their website is down at all for a week or so or a couple weeks, this is where you can watch the Monday through Friday videos.
Yes.
So let's talk about the history of the podcast. We initially started the podcast because we were providing a lot of value about Nashville and things to do on one of our channels, explore.nash.
Let's go to that. And also, if you're not subscribed to that, make sure that you are subscribed to that. We have a lot of good food videos that we've done lately on there.
So we have the Chef and I conversations, the wash. There's so many good videos over there. So we started this YouTube channel in 2018. The first video that we came out with was, I believe, Top Neighborhood. No,
there's
a brief history of Nashville.
Yep.
And then we released Top Neighborhoods video, and throughout that year we did like hot chicken videos and burger videos and all these other videos. But what people were really wanting, they were wanting a more day-to-day conversation about what's happening in Nashville.
Yeah, we started on Fridays. We would go to we ended up releasing a lot of our videos on Explore.Nash on Fridays. Yep. We would go to a restaurant. We would do Instagram Live, talk about what's been going on in Nashville, and let people know about the new video that dropped, and then also just kind of conversing with people about Nashville. We really, really liked doing that.
Yes.
And we got the feeling that a lot of people wanted to have more dialogue about what's going on in the city. And Stuart, you were always keeping up with what was going on in town as far as development news and, keeping an eye on what the city was doing. And so we were able to have a lot of conversations with people about that. Now, Instagram Live is a very unsustainable way to produce high quality content. And so, and that's what we're about. We're about producing high quality content. So we really kind of brainstormed for a while how can we bring an experience of talking about Nashville to people in a way that they want to. And we experimented with a lot of different things, brought about a bunch of different ideas to the table. Podcast ended up being the way that we believed we could do it. Tested around a lot of ideas. We thought about going, how often do we need to do this? Well, if we did a lot of kind of research, and if we were to, we have enough content to talk about Nashville for 24 hours a day, every single day. That's just how busy Nashville is, and we could do it. You give us that challenge, and we could absolutely do it. Now, but we knew that weekly was too far in between the happenings of Nashville to talk about the nitty-gritty stuff of what was going on. We wouldn't be able to fit it all in. It would have to be a 2-hour episode in order to do it. So, but we started the podcast in August
1st of 2019.
Of 2019.
And we have not missed an episode since Monday through Friday. This episode of Nashville Daily is in part brought to you by Blessed Day Coffee out of somewhere in North Nashville, Hendersonville, I believe. You can use the code EXPLORE20 to take 20% off your order today at blesseddaycoffee.com. Greg, what are some of the reviews coming in from Google?
Oh, man, I just remember Hunter's review on Blessed Day Coffee Roasters. It really stuck out to me. I'm just going to read that first sentence. Thank you, Hunter. Here we go. I'll start with the coffee because that's probably of greatest interest to most. You would be correct. It is fantastic.
It is.
And at a fair price.
Mm-hmm. All right. That's all we need to see from Greg. So thank you, Blessed Day, for sponsoring this episode.
Thank you.
And so that's a lot of episodes. We are gearing towards episode 1,000 in January.
Which is a huge number for this show.
And so what we've done in the prior to episode 615, it was mostly audio episodes. And with those audio episodes, we got to record under trains, in coffee shops, in quiet areas, in my apartment, in Stuart's house.
Weird places.
A lot of weird places, a lot of cool places. And we got to meet a lot of cool people with that. Now, when we switched to, during that transition, before episode 615, and we switched to video, hope you recognize what we did with 615, we also brought in this storytelling aspect of the podcast called The Nashville Story, as well as Music Monday. We brought those two episodes, types and formats into there. The Nashville Story was a Saturday-based episode. The Nashville Story, or the Music Monday, was a Monday-based episode. Well, when we switched to video, we decided a lot of people did not watch on Saturdays. And also this new studio, as you can see here, if you're not watching, if you've never watched an episode, you can see what this set is. There's only room enough for Stuart and I here.
Literally, like I go over here, my arm's out of frame. I go here, I hit Aaron in the face.
Yeah, and so anytime we need to do an interview, you've seen tons of interviews on here, either with the Nashville Story or with Brad Reynolds
or Music
here
Mondays.
Recently, or Music Monday. We're in another part of the studio doing that. And we don't get to do those as often when with this format where we're staring at the screen. We only have enough room for two people up here. Brad had to kick me out of the podcast in order to make a special announcement. So you can see that there is limited space up here.
Here, let's just Greg a Google guy.
Greg's the Google guy. Oh no, I'm about to get kicked out.
No,
again
you're
on
not going to
okay.
Greg, just come here and stand.
Yeah, Greg the
real quick.
Google guy coming in. Greg, you had
this
an
is.
amazing week.
Yeah.
With us here on the podcast, and he's coming to hang out. And so during this new format that we're going to do, we're in his sports hat. We talked about that. Greg is going to have the opportunity to be here a little bit more.
What's that in
it's
your hand? That's a Sony lens, isn't it?
Sure
it is.
It's all yours, Stuart.
All right. Thank you,
for
sir.
letting me use that.
Yeah, of course. He was out on the streets capturing some stuff for us.
yeah, he was. Yeah, you were in some of our older episodes before. Oh, hey, Greg. Oh, no. If you're not watching this, head over to NashvilleDailyPodcast.com. Greg occasionally has to come into the studio, reset before he goes back out into the world.
Yeah.
And so we think we salute you, Greg, for your service.
Greg,
to this podcast.
thank you for your service, Greg. So we have a few changes that are happening on episode 1000. Because of how tight this space is, we are changing sets to basically the other side of the room.
Yeah. I was about to say it's the other side of the room. You've probably we're going to change things up, so I don't know if you recognize it from kind of the other episodes that we have produced for the National Story. It may not even look the same. We're still kind of figuring out what that set is going to look like. But one of the things that we are really excited for is we're going to bring back more interviews.
Yep.
We are going to nothing is changing as far as like the schedule of our podcast. Everything else is going to be
Well, it's going to come out a little bit later in the day.
a little bit later in the day.
So
yeah,
typically every morning we come out with an episode at 7:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
We're going to push that back to 9:30, maybe 10 o'clock.
Yeah, we'll
Just
let you
depending.
sleep a little bit.
Yeah.
But it gives the opportunity to do a little bit more of what we want to do as far as bring in some more guests and bring in some more co-hosts to get for you guys to get to know some more people in Nashville and what's going on and to hear it from a lot of different voices. And so that you get the opportunity to meet businesses, you get to
Or business owners. Yeah, you can meet businesses just going to Google and reading the reviews.
Yeah, business owners, more musicians, just more people who can talk about some amazing things in Nashville, and they can sit right beside us and talk about that on the show. So we are very excited for that. And then also, we're going to allow more opportunity as that new show kind of takes its shape for you to interact with us live on YouTube and possibly some other areas that we're still trying to figure out. And so we're very excited to kind of develop the Nashville Daily podcast into its kind of 3.0 version.
Yeah.
Because audio only was our 1.0. Videos are 2.0. And then this is kind of be our 3.0 version of Nashville Daily. We're very excited for it. We can't wait. And
this is happening, just to let you know, so you can put it on your calendars.
yes,
This change is happening January 31st.
episode 1000.
Episode 1000.
So literally about a month from now. And then, so you may, in the January area prior to the 31st, you may have some episodes that are a little bit different because we're probably going to be building our set. And so we're not going to have access to this room like it is now because we're going to be kind of changing some things around. So some episodes we may be doing virtual. Some episodes we may be doing a little bit different just because we're making all the changes here in the studio. So just expect different things. Still the great quality content that we want to bring to you, just in maybe a little bit of a different format, maybe virtual. Who knows? We don't even know yet. But those changes are coming, so stick with us during that time. One of the great things about this format is even in this time, like we're not taking a month break at all. We're still bringing you a ton of good Nashville Daily content during this time. So I'm very excited for it. I am most excited to bring in a little bit of what we may have been missing that we've always wanted on video. And so that's bringing back some of our favorite guests. That's bringing on new guests.
Yeah.
That's bringing on taste tests
Oh,
for
I'm so
restaurants.
excited for that one.
And people who you may have heard on the podcast but not seen. So I'm very, very excited to introduce a lot more to this podcast.
So if you have not subscribed to the YouTube channel, make sure to subscribe to Nashville Daily Podcast YouTube channel. You can also visit NashvilleDailyPodcast.com. There's going to be changes on both of those. And there's going to be other changes with our other brands as well. So you may be wondering, well, what's your other brand? So we have explore.nash. So we have a website right now for that as well. That's changing here in the new year as well. And then
We're doing a lot.
We're doing a lot. That website's changing in the new year. But make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, explore.nash. This is our largest channel right now. And we have hundreds of videos for you to learn about the history of Nashville, what to do on Nashville. You can also go back into the archives to see a bunch of video episodes that were not available on the YouTube channel, Nashville Daily Podcast. And the big changes that are really happening in 2023 is Aaron and I are going across the state of Tennessee, and we are going to try filming in all of the counties. It's very ambitious what we're about to do. And so we have this website. It's Explore Tennessee. You can see the 2 or 3 videos that we have released on that brand new YouTube channel. So we have the Expert's Guide to Fall Activities. We have so much planned in the new year for Explore.Nash, Explore Tennessee, and Nashville Daily Podcast. The Explore Tennessee channel looks like this, just in case you were wondering. So you could subscribe to that as well. But a lot of changes are coming, and we are super excited. 2022 was a fantastic year for us and for these brands that we have started, but 2023 is going to be the biggest year yet.
We are going to be, not cliche, but we are going to be rocking and rolling
Yes, sir.
in 2023.
Oh, yes.
I'm very excited about it. New segments, new guests, brand new everything. I think there's a song about that. But let us know in the comments what you would like to see added to the podcast. Guests you want to bring on, let us know. See you in the new year. Thank you for listening to Nashville Daily.
To learn more about today's episode, visit NashvilleDailyPodcast.com. And to stay connected, head to our Discord, and you can find the link at NashvilleDailyPodcast.com/connect. Nashville Daily is now offering tours. If you would like to take a tour of downtown Nashville, head to the link in the show notes or find out more details at NashvilleDailyPodcast.com.
Nashville Daily Podcast is an Explore.Nash production, copyright 2022.